Good afternoon, friends. I hope you and your dear ones are safe and doing well. At the outset, I'd like to thank Sri Lakshmi and Exito for bringing us all together at this CFO Leadership Summit. I would have loved to be with all of you in person, but so be it. Let's make most of the session and let's make it interactive with some poll questions. Please do participate in the poll so that we get to know some trends. Everyone here relates very closely to the term CFO. Either you have been one, are one, or aspire to be one. So what is it that makes the CFO so special? The CFO is always future ready. Do you agree with me? The CFO is a visionary who looks into the future and plans ahead. The CFO knows the numbers, the business, the value drivers, the values, and most important, is trusted. The CFO is a juggler, and juggling through the different roles, working on urgent deadlines, sometimes forgets to pause and concentrate on the big rocks. My attempt today is to reiterate the areas of focus and share some of my thoughts that you may want to take back and ponder upon. The role of the CFO has evolved from being a number cruncher to a co-pilot of the CEO. Yes, the CFO now drives strategy and is truly the chief future officer. But the CFO is human and nature is one up. What we have experienced with the pandemic is unprecedented and unforeseen. A small invisible virus has affected the whole world. Masks, social distancing, and work from home have now become the new normal, and we are grappling with it. It is in such times that we need to be agile and adapt to the changing times. Supply chains are disrupted, cash flows are out of gear, keeping the workforce together is a challenge, and kickstarting the economy is a challenge too. Many of you may have faced challenges in the year-end audit with quantifying the COVID provisioning and justifying the going concern assumption. It'll be nice to get an idea of how we are coping with the crisis and know the capacity your company is currently operating at. Sri Lakshmi, may I request you to put up a question for poll, please? So we have about 62.5% at about 80%, 50% at 15.6%, and below 50%, 21.9% of the company is still there, right? Very interesting. Maybe a deep dive can tell us more about which sectors are recouping and which are lagging behind, right? Well, as you know, some CFOs have managed efficiently in these trying times, while others are struggling. So what have the CFOs who managed well done differently? To me, it is when you take care of the present that the future takes care of itself. When you have the passion for the purpose and give your 100% today in whatever you do to meet the purpose, you will perform well. And if that performance is consistent, the future will take care of itself. It is very important, though, to know clearly your purpose, be passionate towards it, give your 100%, and lead by example. What am I here for? How many of us think about this question? Let's see. Sri Lakshmi, can we have the poll, please? So we have 85.3% of the people saying sometimes they do think of this question, what am I here for? And I think this is the question, right? As the co-pilot to the CEO, you must have this quest and take the responsibility to define the purpose, the mission that drives the company. And that mission cannot just be money-making. Money is a motivator, yes, but it is a temporary motivation. It is the bigger vision to solve a societal problem or bring about a change that inspires people. You may have noticed that companies with a purpose beyond just money making attract good talent as well. So if you are inspired to work for a purpose that is well defined, have a team that is aligned to that purpose, and give your 100%, you are bound to take care of today, and then tomorrow will take care of itself, because then your focus will be on the important goals, the big rocks that make a difference. I remember Stephen Covey and his 7 habits for highly effective people, where he shares an experiment to fill a glass jar with sand, pebbles, and big rocks, and shows how, if you fill the glass jar first with sand and pebbles, there is no space left to fit in the big rocks. But if you fill the big rocks into the jar first, then add the pebbles, the sand finds its place in between. So identify the big rocks and place them first. The rest will take care of itself. For that matter, even in life, if you just stay with the quest, what am I here for? You will focus on the big rocks, your family, your health and happiness, and things that matter to you the most. I tell you, however busy you are, take out some time for yourself, some me time to meditate, to introspect, to express gratitude, maintain a gratitude diary, and do some random acts of kindness. Be mindful of the mind matters. If you notice, the mind is constantly oscillating between the past and the future. What happens when you think of the past? There is probably regret and anger. And when you think about the future, there is fear and anxiety. And the present moment, it has nothing. It is truly a present. So be in the present moment, give your 100%, and you are bound to succeed in whatever you do. We cannot increase the number of hours in a day. And as we grow, we cannot even reduce the work. But we can surely increase our energy levels and build up our intuition, our gut feel to achieve more in the limited time. And that's where a little bit of meditation and going inwards helps. When you concentrate on the right things with the right values and take care of the present, you build a sustainable future. As CFOs, we resonate with the values of integrity, responsibility, stewardship, and excellence. Integrity is really about doing the right thing even when no one is looking. Integrity of thought, word, and deed helps build trust, and trust, you will all agree, is very valuable. It is when your bankers, suppliers, customers, your own team trusts you that they will be ready to hold your hand in a crisis. Responsibility. The CFO is responsible to all the stakeholders, and it is really important that as a CFO, you are resilient, take responsibility and ownership of the outcomes, speak up, be critical, and take a stand when required. You also need the agility to change course if circumstances change. For example, if you see that a business strategy you're working on is no longer viable, either because of a disruption or a change of regulation, then be willing to let it go and change course. Don't stay in it even when you know the game is over. Stewardship, striving to leave and the organization better than what you received. Working to build an organization that lasts, that is sustainable. And excellence. I think excellence, execution excellence is key. The importance of the CFO driving strategy cannot be overemphasized. And the strategy, however good, will not succeed unless you have execution excellence. A strategy well executed leads to success. It takes incredible discipline to execute a strategic goal, but it takes even more discipline to do it again and again. Creating a culture of excellence is an absolute necessity. Discipline is paramount for execution excellence. Franklin Covey again provides the 4DX solution which propagates embedding 4 basic disciplines that ensure institutionalization of a common approach. The 4 disciplines are: first, focus on the wildly important goal. Exceptional execution starts with narrowing the focus, clearly identifying what must be done. Nothing else matters. Identify where you are now, where you want to be, and by when. In other words, define a starting line, a finish line, and a deadline. Second, act on the lead measures, the measures that have a positive impact on your goal. We know that 80-20 rule. 20% of the activities produce 80% of the results. Identify those activities, codify them into individual actions, and track them fanatically. Third, keep a compelling scoreboard. People and teams play differently when they are keeping score, and the right kind of scoreboards motivate players to win. Fourth, create a cadence of accountability. Great performers thrive in a culture of accountability that is frequent, positive, and self-directed. Each team engages in a simple weekly process that highlights successes, analyzes failures, and course corrects as necessary, creating the ultimate performance management system. The CFO needs to leverage timely, accurate, and actionable insights to help steer the company to a strong future. All this while ensuring good governance and controls are in place. I'd like to leave you with a few thoughts and best practices that could help CFOs build sustainable enterprises that are future and crisis ready. The first is the importance of communication. Communication, communication, communication. Remember, as the CFO, you are the conscience keeper of the organization, and your voice is most critical during a crisis. You need to keep communicating with your investors, lenders, customers, suppliers, employees, regulators, and your board. You need to be a good storyteller. You need to be authentic and consistent and take your stakeholders along with you in good times and bad. Communicate the bad news first. It is better than getting to know of it through the newspaper. Second, focus on liquidity. Cash is king today. Stress test your cash flows, increase the operational efficiency, use technology and analytics, and rethink your business model to a more sustainable one. Build a liquidity cushion, and if you're lucky and you can, raise capital. Third, manage risks. Keep a sharp eye on risk management. I think we all do that, but let's see the response. Sri Lakshmi ji, do you think we can do a poll on the poll question on risk management now?
Sure, yes.
So we have about 63.2% of the people saying that they do have an adequate enterprise risk management framework, which is indeed very nice. 26.3% saying they don't have it at all. And another 10.5% saying that it is being implemented. I think this really requires focus, and especially in COVID times, you must have realized how important an enterprise-wide risk management framework is. And with ICFR being the order of the day, I think that's something that we all need to do. Anyway, internal controls, I think as we cut staff to bring down costs and we have employees working from home, companies could now become increasingly vulnerable to failures of internal control and fraud. Supplier and customer failures. The pandemic has disrupted supply chains. Customer failures can bring receivables under pressure, and diversifying and securing supply chains, monitoring receivables can help mitigate those risks. I think third-party risk management remains critical. Cyber attacks. With digitization and more external access points, systems are potentially more vulnerable to cyber risks, including data theft. Geopolitical risks and failure of government policy interventions also poses a risk. Risk of disruption. Beware of disruption. It's better to be a disruptor than a disrupted corporation. In a crisis or even otherwise, it is good to know what the regulator is thinking about, what your peers are thinking about, what your shareholders want, and here the relationships that you build can take you a long way. How many CFOs visit their regulators without any agenda? We normally go to the regulator when there is a notice or need some clarification. Why not just go and meet the regulator without any agenda, build that relationship? CFOs are mentors to many, but do you have a mentor yourself? Someone you can bounce ideas with, someone that you can rely on to give you good advice? Remember, it is very lonely at the top. Contribute to industry thought leadership. Build an industry CFO forum. 5 of us private equity CFOs founded a private equity CFO forum, and now it has 190 members. It just helps to have easy access to a group of people that you can discuss issues of common interest with or seek a clarification. Use the audit committee chair as a sounding board. Take the ICFR testing seriously. Accept good suggestions. Don't just justify that the controls are operating and are effective. Do a peer benchmarking. See how you perform vis-a-vis your peers. Board induction, another crucial area. In most cases, CFOs contribute to identify new board members. Think of the skill sets that you need on the board. Look out for the right people with complementing skill sets that will give you a diverse and effective board. Don't just think of friends and family. Look for troubles. They will let you grow. As you know, corporate governance is a scale, and wherever you are on that scale, you can go up. Board agenda. How serious are you about the board agenda? What gets discussed is what you put up. Are you putting up all that really needs to be discussed at the board? Are you transparent in the communication? Do you accept suggestions of better ways of doing things? Auditors. Identify the right auditors. Don't settle for mediocre performers. Whistleblower and vigil mechanism. Take it seriously. Whistleblower complaints could give you a sense of some wrongdoing in or with the company. And it is very important to know that and take steps to address it and mitigate the reputational impact. Reporting. You focus on what you report. Think about how you can improve your reporting. Is your reporting just limited to financial reporting, or have you moved to the business responsibility and sustainability reporting or integrated reporting, even if it is voluntary for you? Let's see, Sri Lakshmi, can we have a poll please on the integrated reporting? So we have 50% of us saying that we have implemented integrated reporting. I'm really glad to see that. Intent to implement is 28.9% and no is 21.1%. I'm really happy to see that 50% of the people have implemented integrated reporting. It is voluntary today for most of us, but I think it keeps the focus on long-term strategy. And these are forward-looking documents covering the strategy and the context in which it will be delivered and how the company will create value to the various providers of capital and others in the short, medium, and long term. I think integrated reporting focuses you to encourage integrated thinking, and that's what makes the difference. When you think holistically about the impact your business is making, not only on the financial capital, but also on the natural capital, the social and relationship capital, the human capital, the intellectual capital, and the manufactured capital, there is a big shift. CSR, the 2% spend. Are you using this provision just to transfer funds to a trust that you have set up or to the PM Relief Fund? Or are you making the most of it by creating an impact in the communities that you operate in? Is CSR an opportunity for the team to engage in volunteering activities and contribute to the cause? Diversity and inclusion. It is proved that diverse companies are more profitable. Have you looked at this aspect? Do you have a fair representation from 50% of the workforce, 50% of the vote bank that makes about 80% of the consumption decisions? Do you have a diverse workforce and a diverse board? To sum up, the CFO is the conscience keeper, a person everyone looks up to and trusts. No one is better equipped to understand the business, the value drivers, and the values. Be a transformational leader, innovate, use technology, and drive the company for a purpose to make it a company that lasts. Be the chief future officer. I sincerely hope you have taken back some actionables and implement them. Thank you.